Hello YouTube, welcome back to another Java programming tutorial video, and in this video we're going to learn about getting user input with a class called scanner. So if you haven't done so yet, remember to subscribe and like this video. Getting user input is really important because if you want to make an actual application, it's not going to be printing stuff and doing your own stuff the whole time. You're going to need user interaction. And I know this is kind of complicated and difficult to understand at this point of learning, but I will still talk about it. And if you're confused and you don't understand, just copy down the code and you'll eventually understand when we talk about classes and objects and stuff. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we have to do is to import the class that we're going to use, to import the package and the class that we're going to use in this tutorial, and it's called scanner. And you do so by going to the top of your code, below your package and above your class, and you type in import java.util.scanner. Okay, so Java is Java. .util is a package that comes with Java, and scanner is a class inside the package util that we're going to use to get user input. And then the next thing you're going to do is you need to create an instance of the class scanner. I know you do not understand the thing that I just said, but creating an instance basically just lets us use what's inside the class scanner. We do that by typing out scanner. That's the class name, and you give this instance or this object a name too, and I'm going to call it input equals new scanner system parentheses system dot in. Okay, and you probably realize that this looks a lot like the variable declaration, but this is actually a class, and a variable is just a special object. It's something that comes with Java that you don't have to import like we have to do here. And this object is just like a special variable where you put the class name instead of the data type, and you have to do new where we don't have to do it with variables. So actually string is also a class. It's just that we use it way too often, so we don't need to import it. So, yeah. And that's the way you create an instance of the class scanner. And if you don't understand it, just copy down the code, as I said in the beginning. And the next step, you're going to have to prompt the user. So most of the time, you need to remind the user before you get their input, or else your program is just gonna pause and there will be a blinking cursor and they don't know what to do. So we're gonna prompt the user by printing something to let them know that we're gonna get some kind of input from them, and we're going to say, please input something. Okay, and then we can finally get the input and store it in a variable. So you get the input by doing input, so that's the object we created earlier. You see it matches, so it's highlighting both. And then you do dot. The dot notation basically means, look, you can see right here, Eclipse just pops up all the methods that's inside the class scanner. It basically means we're using something that's from this class. We're going to do input dot next line. Okay, so this is one method inside the class called NextLine, and it gets a string input from the user. And there are other methods like nextInt that gets an integer input, and next double that gets a double input, and so on and so forth. So we do next line. Alright, And then, oh, never mind, we don't type in anything here. So this gets the input, but what are we gonna do with it? So whenever this line comes up in your code, the program's just gonna pause and it's gonna get the input from the user, and as soon as the user press enter, the program continues. But in here, there's nothing after that, so we're not doing anything with this input yet. So you can either print it, just like this. You can print it, just put this statement inside a system.out.println function, method, and let's run it. So it says please input something, and we're gonna say hello world. You see, it prints out hello world as we typed in. But that's not very good, because most of the time we're going to use the input more than one time, and just printing and just putting it in whatever we need doesn't work. So the most efficient way is to store it in a variable. And if you didn't see my variables and data types video, I'll leave a link in the description as well as a card in the top right corner, so go check it out before you watch this video. And we can store in variable. Since NextLine takes in a string input, we're gonna have to store in a string variable. And user input, like that, equals input.nextLine. So, alright, and then we can do whatever we want with this variable. We can print it like this. It does the exact same thing as we did before. Okay, hello, what's up? Oh, I cannot type today. What's up? What's up? Okay, so this example just basically just teaches you how to get input from the user, but it's not very useful, and it's not very related to any kind of thing that you would do with Java. So we're gonna do a different example here. So with the same steps, I'm not gonna delete the code. You create an instance or an object of the class scanner, and then you need to prompt the user, and we're gonna say something different this time. We're gonna say, please enter your first name. Okay, and this time we're gonna do print instead of println, because println returns a new line after the thing you want to print, which is annoying because that doesn't look good. So, and print doesn't have that new line right here. So we prompt the user, please enter your first name, and then we get our input as usual and store into variable, and then we can do something like greet the user, hello, good evening, and then comma, and you can concatenate it with the user input. And be careful, because the user input is not going to have a space before that, so we're going to have to leave a space right here to make it look like English. And we entered my name, and I enter my name. Good evening. Ooh, I spelled good wrong. My bad. You get it. I enter your name, say Brian. Good evening, Brian. Alright, so that's basically how you get user input from the user. I know you're probably confused by now, and if you're confused, you can either ignore this, or you can copy down the code so you can use it later in some kind of project. But this is going to be really useful when we do projects and stuff. So be sure you know how to do this, even though you don't really understand it. But yeah, so this is gonna be it for this video, and I'll see you in the next video.